Hey guys, welcome to another Anon Gremlin video. Today we are looking at the Turian agent, the new character that was released alongside patch 1.06. Surprisingly, I have been able to get him up to level 20 quite quickly using leveling enhancers that were put in stores for the 75% one. But anyway, let's get into looking at our Turian agent. If you don't care about how I've built it or looking at the skills overall, skip to around 5 minutes 45 and you'll start getting my opinions and how I play the character, etc. So the first skill is Recon Vision, activates an augmented reality display that highlights where targets are, etc. So at rank 1 you get the Recon Visor, enhanced vision range 25 meters, penetration range 2.3, penetration damage 60%, duration of 12 seconds and recharge time of 12 seconds. Moving on to rank 2 you get range plus 40% enhanced vision, rank 3 is plus 25% penetration damage. Rank 4, I've gone for accuracy and stability, 30% accuracy, 30% more stability, or you can have recharge speed, that gives it plus 30% recharge speed. Rank 5, I've gone for a plus 50% duration, but if you decide to go for the augmented range, you can get more vision range from it. Not something I really wanted. And rank 6 is extend duration, every kill you get while it's activated makes it last 1 second longer. That didn't seem too good, so I decided to go for shatter armor. Every time you shoot an enemy with the Recon Visor activated, you and your teammates can do 25% more damage to armored targets for 10 seconds. That's a very nice team-based ability, but it also allows you to take out some harder enemies that are usually armored. Moving on to Tactical Cloak, it obviously turns you invisible, we know that. Now it doesn't consume power cells, it's a rechargeable skill on the Turian agent. So at rank 1, duration 6.5, recharge time 12 seconds. Gun and power damage up by 50%, melee damage 60% boost. Rank 2 recharge speed plus 15% recharge speed. Rank 3 duration plus 25% duration. Rank 4 can give you a plus 30% recharge speed, and rank 4 again, the one that I choose, damage bonus plus 40% gun, 50% more for melee and power, which is very nice to see. Rank 5 I went for plus 50% duration, but you can go for plus 20% movement speed. For the duration you can improve that within supports, so maybe you could do that. And rank 6 escape artist, the cloak no longer prevents health and shield regen, but I've gone for duration that the cloak lasts after you shot the bullet, lasts for 2 seconds, meaning you get all those damage buffs for an extra 2 seconds after shooting your first enemy. So Flamethrower I haven't improved very much, obviously it is just a flamethrower. I've kept it literally base just because building everything else up was a lot more effective for me, but it does 240 sustained damage per second, burn damage of 120, lasts for 5 seconds, armor targets get a 25% more damage, and recharge time is 12 seconds. I've only done its recharge speed, but obviously you can improve it by improving its damage by plus 25%. And then plus 35% after that. Rank 4 you can do recharge speed 30% more, you can improve its reach by 50%. Rank 5 you get lingering burn plus 50% damage over time plus 50% duration. And rank 6 is anti-armor plus 80% damage versus armor. That's quite a big buff. I'll probably do this last though for Flamethrower once I got it up to X. And rank 6 burning heat, damage output from enemies on fire is reduced by 50%. Moving on to Apex training, obviously this improves gun damage, etc. So we've got a plus 5% weapon damage at rank 1. Rank 2 we have power augmentations plus 15% power. Rank 3 weapons plus 5% damage plus 10% weapon weight capacity. Rank 4 weapon training plus 8% weapon damage. Rank 4 can be plus 20% power damage. Rank 5 is where I will be progressing next, plus 20% weapon headshot weak shot bonus, plus 25% weapon spare ammo, or you can go for aerial combat training, plus 50% hover duration, plus 100% weapon accuracy while airborne. I wouldn't necessarily go for that because I don't use it, but rank 6 can be power specialist, plus 20% power damage, plus 20% weapon weight capacity, plus 20% tech effect duration, or you can go for weapon specialist, plus 10% weapon damage, plus 15% weapon accuracy, plus 15% weapon stability. Very good for me if I'm using shotguns, etc. like I will be. So rank 1 repair systems, plus 25% shield regeneration, plus 25% health regeneration. And then rank 2 can be plus 20% max health, plus 20% max shield. Rank 3 is plus 30% melee damage. Rank 4 is plus 30% to all power effect duration. You wouldn't do the melee one, but that gives you plus 40% melee damage. Rank 5 is tactical evasion, plus 20% max health, plus 20% max shields, plus 15% movement speed. Rank 5 can be tactical revive. It allows you to not get hurt while reviving, and for sometimes afterward. You wouldn't really invest in this because you do have tactical cloak, so that makes the benefits of tactical revive pretty much null because you will be invisible anyway, so you won't be taking much damage. Rank 6 is shield reset. Once every 10 seconds, using a tech power causes shields to recharge immediately rather than after the standard delay. Or you can get tech sabotage. Hitting enemies with powers causes them to temporarily deal less damage. Damage debuff 30%, damage debuff duration 8 seconds. So we've reached the gameplay part of the video. All gameplay is recorded on gold. It's obviously a rare character, but also you'd be expecting to use characters above level 18 as it says on gold, so of course I've decided to play him on gold, and I've got a shotgun build going with him. You can build him as a sniper build, but personally I think he best fitted a shotgun for my playstyle. I'm using him with the Crusader. There's a little bit of gameplay with the Ruzad, but that's all that. Anyway, he is a very effective character, really comes into his own. He's alright to begin with. You kind of look at his skills, you look at stuff like Recon Visor, and you wonder how is that useful with its penetration damage, stuff like that. But once you start to really look into the character and level him up, he does really come into his own, and he'll definitely dominate at rank X if you were to invest more in Apex and support, something I will definitely be doing. So moving on to skills individually, and I have already said overall he's a good character, a very effective character, so you can probably guess what I'm going to be saying about each skill. As previously mentioned, Recon Visor, on first look at it, it looks a bit naff. It didn't look like it was going to do a lot. I wasn't really that pumped. I was like, what is the point in this, apart from it allowing you to see more enemies? But as I further invested in it, started to really think about my build, I realised it is a very nice skill. The reasons being, its level 4 allows more accuracy and stability for shotguns, but more importantly level 6 gives a minus 25% damage debuff for armoured targets for 10 seconds. That's for you and the whole of your team, and that is really effective because most of the hardest enemies on the game, such as your Hydras, your Nullifiers, your Krogan outlaws that come running in, are extremely hard to beat, and they've all got armour. Whereas when you have this ability with the Recon Visor, you're able to activate it, shoot them, and it allows your team to do a lot more damage to them over that 10-second period. It's really nice to see, and it does allow for armored targets to be literally eradicated extremely easy. It's good as a team, as I mentioned, but it also comes into effect quite well on its own, especially when combined with Tactical Cloak, something I will get into in a minute. And as you can probably see by a lot of the gameplay, I am able to literally solo Nullifiers within about a mag of my Crusader just by literally putting on my Tactical Cloak leveled up to its maximum, along with the Recon Visor to lower the damage debuff for armor, and hey presto, that enemy is dead. Moving on to Tactical Cloak, obviously we all know what Tactical Cloak is. It can get you out of sticky situations. That's the first thing that would come to people's mind. Being able to go invis allows you to run out and get out of a situation where you would probably die otherwise. However, as a lot of you know, Tactical Cloak has many other advantages besides that. Firstly, to mention, one thing that's so good about the Turian agent is the fact that it no longer needs power cells. It's on a cooldown, which makes it a lot more accessible. It doesn't mean you can only use it 4 times. You have to go see it, go to an ammo box. This time you use it, and then you just have to wait for it to recharge. And the recharge time on it is very minimal, even at level 1 without investing in it. So that is really nice to see, makes it really accessible. It is great to use for objectives such as your hacks and your retrievals, due to allowing you to avoid damage. Obviously you're invis, those enemies aren't going to be shooting you, you're not going to be taking damage. That's pretty self-explanatory. Level 4 is where the Tactical Cloak comes into its own, because it does give you the option to do plus 50% weapon, melee and power damage on the initial shot that you fire after coming out of the Tactical Cloak. That's really nice to see, because that combines with the plus 50% you get at base level, meaning that each shotgun shell that you shoot after you come out of that cloak, that first shell will be doing double damage, and that can be really effective, especially against your brute enemies, and especially when combined with either a high power shotgun or a high power sniper rifle. However, once invested into level 6, you can make this even more effective. As many of you will know, damage cloak allows these buffs to last for 2 seconds after that first shot, allowing you to pump out approximately 300% extra damage slugs if you're using the Crusader. If you're using something like the Piranha, you can probably get more shots off than that, but it allows you to pump out more of those basically double damage bullets for about 2 seconds, and that really is pinnacle, especially as I said earlier, when it came to me trying to take out Annihilators which were armoured. Having the recon visor on and this tactical cloak, basically 100% buff, allowed me to basically rinse through them as if they were nothing. Even on gold, that will probably be even more effective when it comes to silver and bronze if you were to use the agent on there, which you would be wasted on, because you can literally do gold on this. You're a really good solo carry, you can carry yourself basically, or you can be basically a team playing character when it comes to stuff like that armor debuff of minus 25% to armored enemies being applied to your team as well for 10 seconds. When it comes to the Flamethrower, I feel I had to sacrifice it a bit. I feel it does enough at base level, enough damage at base level for me to still be able to use it. The only reason I haven't invested in it, if you watched the bit where I went through my skill tree, is because I wanted to invest in, obviously, Tactical Cloak and the Visor, because I thought that suited my build a lot more, along with investing in Apex and support. The Flamethrower in no way has been left out because I think it's useless. It's just because I had to sacrifice it, and it's really nice to see that the Flamethrower is able to still do a nice bit of damage, even though I haven't put very many skills into it. I've only put 1 skill point into it to get its level 2, so I'm afraid that I haven't invested in the Flamethrower. But the Flamethrower obviously is good as what it's usually good for. It basically is used for crowd control. If you've got loads of enemies around, you just put that on and spray it around a bit, let those enemies do burn damage. It can also stun them a little bit. Also, if you've got a large crowd of maybe brute enemies that are on low health, you can just quickly finish all of those off by turning on the Flamethrower. I think it's a compliment to the Flamethrower really that I haven't had to invest in it. It shows how good it is at base level, and it's still a very viable third skill, and I think this is something I should emphasise. All 3 skills on this character feel useful. On a lot of characters you feel like you've got 1 or 2 skills that are pinnacle, and then the third one maybe just there. It's not really aiding your gameplay too much, it's just there just in case you remember to pop it. Whereas with this Turian agent, you do feel like all 3 abilities are really effective, and you just got to work out how you're going to juggle them and how you want to invest those skills. So that's the one downside of this character. Unless you got it to X, you are going to have to make some sacrifices when it comes to those 3 skills, because all of them are useful, but obviously you can't carry them all through if you want to invest in Apex and support as well. Talking about Apex training, always good as it allows more gun damage. This further compensates the investment I've made into other skills like the Tactical Cloak buff and the armor debuff from the Visor. So it does allow me to do a lot more damage, and that's just something I wanted to do. I wanted to make a high damage build from my Turian agent, and that is something that has really worked in my favour. I feel like an absolutely god sometimes when I'm running around the map. I feel like I'm really effective, and I think that is a strength for the character overall. People have built him into a sniper build, but personally I feel the shotgun build really complements him. I feel like I can just run around, and I feel like if I get into danger I can put on that Tactical Cloak and I won't be putting myself in harm's way, because I can just easily get out of the way, turn invis, run to a corner and just get away from those enemies. It just feels like a very effective team and solo character. Moving on to support system, I basically invested in this to make the character less squishy. I did feel a bit squishy when first starting the character, so that's one downside of him. I did feel a bit squishy when first playing as him, but obviously if you're getting into those situations you can use Tactical Cloak to get yourself out of that situation, meaning you won't die from the squishiness. I said squishy way too many times there, but anyway, when it also comes to those support systems, I didn't really see it as appropriate that he should have the ability to invest in melee skills. Obviously it's a generic skill tree, but I didn't feel like having the melee options there really added anything to the character. It's not something people are going to be investing in just because melee is not really a strong point. I wouldn't be using this character as a melee character. Therefore, the skill tree can be a bit too black and white there. You can be kind of like, oh well, I'll just go for that skill because obviously I'm not going to use the melee. Another problem came under support systems, which is the fact you can get tactical revive. Basically, this stops you from taking damage while reviving and the person you revive from taking damage once they've been revived, if that makes sense to you. Basically, this seemed like a useless skill to have and made it so that you just chose the other option. I forgot what that option is now, but it just kind of like hindered that tree because it seemed like it was giving you two options and one option was useless, so you had to go for the other one. Obviously, this option is useless because you can just use tactical cloak while reviving, and that'll basically give you the same benefit, because obviously if you're invisible you're not going to be taking damage because enemies won't shoot at you. So that is one thing. I know it's a generic skill tree, but I would have liked them to see them substitute that tactical revive for something else, just to make the skill tree a little bit more original, make people make more original choices, if that makes sense to you guys. But let's finish this review off now. I've been rambling a bit. Overall, he's a good, solid character. Can be played as a sniper, but obviously I said I've played him as a shotgun-based character. I've used the Crusader. You can basically put any shotgun on him and they will be effective. But mainly you want those ones that have 2 or 3 bullets within their mag, just because you get the benefit of that 2-second cloak phase, and you want extra bullets in your magazine to make sure you make the most of that 2-second phase after coming out of cloak. He's a good in-your-face character who can pump out large amounts of damage. He's effective as a solo player or a team player. He can kill armor targets really well due to that recon visor. Tactical cloak allows good objective revive play, whilst allowing you to get out of sticky situation and harm's way, whilst also dealing insane damage. And also that flamethrower kind of takes a back seat, but is still an effective third skill to have. So overall, as you can see, he's a well built character, he's very well rounded, and I am a massive fan of him. So there we go, we're going to conclude our Turian Agent review. He's really nice. I am going to be re-reviewing the Solarian Architect due to the altercations that BioWare have made there. But the Turian Havoc Trooper, an amazing character. If you unlock him, definitely try and get him to level 20 and see how you would build him. Because A, you got lots of routes to go down, but B, he will be effective anyway, and he is really nice to play. So there we go, peace out, have a nice day, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, bye bye.